Welcome to Zen Fits, the first New Year's talk of the year, the first talk of the year. So let's turn the hourglass over. So just imagine if this were a year hourglass, right? So we'll start a new year. Of course, this one is 10 minutes. Suppose you had an hourglass or a time glass, for a year, a decade. That would be good. Or how about a time glass for your whole life? And you would be able to watch the years go by and, I still got a lot of years left, and then pretty soon it would be down to a few grains of sand. Could you turn it over? Now, Buddhism, the original, back Hinayana Buddhism, the early Buddhism, the whole idea was to get out of the recycling of time, death and rebirth. Oh no, I don't want to be born again. I don't want to come back to this wheel of suffering. It's kind of like the life was seen as the Inquisition, the rack, and they put you on a wheel and stretch you and torture you, until you confess. So the only idea of the early Buddhism, and in yoga too, because Buddhism, was 500 years before Christ, So that early Buddhism, that early yoga in India was all about getting out of the wheel, the cycle, the Groundhog Day, waking up from Groundhog Day. So you had to do a lot of meditation, and you had a lot of asceticism, no sex, no booze, no meat, just meditate all day, live in the woods, leave the world, leave the wheel, go to a monastery, go to the forest, get out, you see. The whole idea was to get out of the world. It was hell. So in Buddhism, there wasn't heaven to go to. It was kind of like a, I don't know. It's kind of like escape, to be perfect, to be a perfect globe of light, to return to the source, the light, you see. So the whole idea was to stop turning over the time glass. So today is the first New Year's, and we turned over the year glass. You see, now we start a new year, and we can watch the days go through the sand. You say, we got half the year is gone, and 2/3, and I'll be glad when this year's over. Assuming that the next year will be different, but when you turn a glass, it's the same thing. When you turn this, I don't want to turn it over because I'm watching my time here. But when you turn it over, I'll use this here. See, here's one, you turn it over. It's the same thing. So this idea of the cycling of time, there's the illusion, you see, that we're going somewhere, that it'll be different. It'll be better. 2021 will be better than 2012, too, you see. It'll be better. And others say, it'll be worse. And others, it's all the same. So this whole idea, the illusion of time, is that we can make it better. We can make a better time. I can make my life better. Let's have some vows, I vow to not do all the things that made 2020 bad. I'll vow not to do them in 2021. I'll eat less. I'll smoke less. I'll do all these things. Or I'll stop doing that, you see. And I'll be better. Next year I'll be better next year. And then at the end of the year, you turn the thing over, and it was just like last year. You see. Next year I'll be better. Have a vow, New Year's vow, and all of that, you see. It's all basically the same cycling of time. We just recycle time under the illusion that we can make time better, you see. So what's awakening? What is the awakening of the true meaning of Buddhism? The true truth of Buddhism is not escaping time, but awakening through time. In other words, seeing through the illusion of time. We still need time. You need to catch a bus. You need time to do this. You need time to do that. You need to meet people. What time are you going to meet? Well, we have to have time, you see. But is time real? That's the question. Is it just a veil? Is it just something we need, a conventional, like a ruler has inches? Well, we need that ruler to measure a board so we know where to cut, but there are no inches. Alan Watts used to talk about that. You ever see an inch walking around? You ever see a minute walking around? You ever see an hour, a year? These are just words. They're just conventional rulers that we use to function and make stuff. That's all, you see. So they're rulers. The inch doesn't exist. The hour doesn't exist. The year doesn't exist. The calendar doesn't. Burn the calendar. Burn the calendar, you see. You can still use the calendar, but you burn it, you see through it. So there is no time. We're all just right now. At the end of this year, it'll still be right now. Yesterday was yesterday, but when we were in yesterday, it was now. And now it's now. And at the end of this talk, it'll still be the same now. And when I put this up on Facebook, it'll still be now. And when you look at this, you'll be now looking at me now. And it's the same now. We're always now, you see. Nothing changes. It's always now. It's always this little point between there. It's always right there. Future, past, future. But we live here. But we believe we're living past or future, you see. That's an illusion. That's the ignorance that Buddhism, awakening, whatever your tradition is, doesn't have to be Buddhism, but awakening is seeing through the time glass, seeing through the glass to the illusion that time exists as something. It doesn't exist as something, it's a convention, a ruler that we need to measure stuff. That's all. That's all, you see. So, this New Year's, meditate on time. And notice when we're caught up in time, in the belief that it's real, and we're rushing to get somewhere, making mistakes, trying to be better, trying to improve our life, you see. There's nothing wrong with that, except that it's really an illusion. You can't improve now. When you're now, you can't fix it. This is it. And it's always just this. It's always very simply just this. You can't fix it. You can't make now better than it is. This is it. So when we live through time, we can still catch a bus, but we're living in just this. So we're always home. We're always now. Coming and going in time, you are always at home, which is now. So we're always now, you see. And when you realize that through and through, that is the New Year celebration. That is when the rockets go off. That is the joy of the new year and the death of the old, because the now is the death of the past and the birth of the future, but it's always now. So the now, yesterday is always, the last moment is dying, and the new one is being born as the same moment, not two, not death and life, not yesterday and tomorrow, but as right here, past, future. Past is dying, future is born, but we live here, where they both exist simultaneously. That's why we can't figure it out, because logically, past is past, future is future. They're different, yes, but they cannot be separated in the now. In the now, past cannot be separated from future. It's now. So both are one. One is two. Two is one. So this is a very wise little metaphorical application thing I use here. I love these things. I keep using these metaphorically to try and explain the unexplainable. Be here now. Happy New Year.